Shalom, all praises, honor, and glory. It goes to YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, double honors to the elders of Great Millstone. YAHAWAH, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, brakathum to the hopeful elect. Shalom, shalom. Today's video, I want to go into the injustices of the prison system here in America, because I ended up finding this article. Title of the article: U.S. prison workers produce $11 billion worth of goods and services a year for pittance. And we know that the United States has a law that says, you know, slavery is abolished except for the meaning of punishment, which means that you have to be arrested. You have to be having to commit an offense to be turned into a slave. But when you look into the demographics, or when you look into the stats, you see that it's mainly blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans that are being locked up in these prisons. So it's a system designed to get free labor out of Jake continually, going from the birth of this nation all the way in 2022. As I did in my last video, this nation is built off the back of Israelites, man. But you see, in the scriptures, the concept of prison doesn't exist. You know, when you read the law, there is judgments set for each offense. When somebody is a thief, what do? He has to pay double. You know, when somebody transgressions, he has the ability to be put to death, man. And that death is supposed to happen before the sun go down, man. It ain't just somebody gets sentenced to death row and Jake just sitting there waiting to die for 30 years. Next thing you know, you done shriveled up. You 85 years old and they hit you with a lethal injection. No, man. No, that judgment's supposed to be executed that same night. Let me get it. God, this is Deuteronomy 21, verse 22. And if a man have committed a sin worthy of death, and he be put to death, and now hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but thou shalt in any wise bury him that day, for he that is hanged is a curse from the Most High, that thy land be not defiled, for the Lord thy power giveth thee for an inheritance. You see, so if a man is hung on a tree and even put to death, man, that you get that sentence, you get judged, you get sentenced all within the same day, man. Esau's system is so wicked that he'll drag you out and drain your life and then put your ass to death, man. You see, but the Lord said you're supposed to put evil from among you. I got this article. It says, what does the Bible say about capital punishment and the death penalty? It said life was harsh for the Hebrews in the early Old Testament. They had just been free from slavery in Egypt and wandered in the desert for 40 years. When they finally reached the promised land, they had to fight almost constantly to take hold it. There were few options for dealing with offenders in a society that moved frequently and struggled just to survive. You see, because they didn't have time for bullshit, man. Even though niggas was bullshitting in the wilderness, these laws had to be executed that on the spot, man. What the Most High say, you're supposed to put evil from among you. It say there were few options for dealing with offenders in a society that moved frequently and struggled just to survive. The penalty for most crimes was either death, beating, or banishment from the tribe. You see, death, beating, or banishment. It don't say nothing about locking a nigga up for 25 years, man. It say the Old Testament law prescribed the death penalty for an extensive list of crimes, including murder, Exodus 21:12, attacking or cursing a parent, Exodus 21 verse 15, disobedience to parents, Deuteronomy 21 verse 18, kidnapping, failure to confine a dangerous animal, witchcraft and sorcery, human sacrifice, sex with an animal, incest, adultery, undesirable acts, prostitution by a priest's daughters, blasphemy, false prophecy, perjury in capital cases, refusing to obey a decision of a judge or priest, false claim of a woman's virginity at time of marriage, sex between a woman pledged to be married and a man other than her betrothed. You see? And once again, this judgment happened the same day, man. But here you have in the United States of America, they want to tax Jake. They want to drain Jake, and put Jake to work. So let's go into this article. U.S. prison workers produce $11 billion worth of goods and services a year for pittance. Incarcerated workers in the U.S. produce at least $11 billion, but receive just pennies an hour in wages for their prison jobs, according to a new report from the American Civil Liberties Union. Nearly 2/3 of all prisoners in the U.S., which imprisons more of its population than any other country in the world. You see? But and you read the scriptures, we are yet this day in our captivity. Things like that, scriptures like that. This makes this stuff come to life because this is the truth. America was not set up for the success of blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, man. This was set up as a punishment and a death camp. And it shows the way that they incarcerating Jake. It say that figure amounts to roughly 800,000 people, researchers estimated in the report, which is based on extensive public records requests, questionnaires, and interviews with incarcerated workers. ACLU researchers say the findings outlined in Wednesday's report raise concerns about the systematic exploitation of prisoners who are compelled to work sometimes difficult and dangerous jobs without basic labor protections and little or no training while making close to nothing, because it's slavery. You see? It's slavery. It was designed to get free labor. That's why when Jake get pulled over with a gram of weed, he getting locked up. You going to jail, man. Some states, they starting to relax laws like this. But I'm talking about back in the day, man. I'm talking about early 2000s, 90s, 80s, 70s. They locking you up for a gram of weed. They locking you up for having a pistol. They locking you up for having an open container, man. Because, hey, this is all snares and traps. Most incarcerated workers are tasked with general prison maintenance that is crucial to keep facilities running. It says state governments and the prison system are extracting tremendous value from a captive and exploited workforce, all while claiming they can't afford to pay them a livable wage. You see, a livable wage is, for a prison, because hey, it's just niggas in jail. They trying to get money for honey buns and ramen noodles and money so they can call their girl or whatever. But they pay these niggas 5 cents an hour, 15 cents an hour, 25 cents an hour, man. It says more than 80% of incarcerated laborers do general prison maintenance, including cleaning, cooking, repair work, laundry, and essential services. For paid non-industry jobs, workers make an average of 13 cents to 52 cents an hour. 7 states, Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Texas, pay nothing for the vast majority of prison work. Incarcerated workers who are paid often see most of their pay withheld for taxes, room and board expenses, and court costs, man. So here you are, you're doing all this work and you still getting taxed on what you done. You paying your debt to society. You in a damn prison cell 23 hours a day, get 1 hour to roam around, and you still getting taxed, man. And tell me this place is not, this place ain't wicked, man. You getting taxed on getting 13 to 52 cents an hour, man. See, this is why the Lord got to come redeem us. And that's not to say that Jake is innocent, because Jake is hard-headed and Jake put themselves in position to receive these kind of punishments. But prison and jail system, that's not of the Most High, man. Not at one time does the Most High say if somebody committed an offense, they gotta go sit in the hole for 10 years, man. It said you get beat, you get put to death, or you gotta do a restitution, man. That's it. That's the laws of the Most High. But it says this is a prisoner speaking. It says we are saving the prisons millions of dollars and getting paid pennies in return. All the jobs we are doing in prison not really benefiting us. It is more benefiting the prison system. I work a job making $450 for a whole year, said Letitia Millender, an inmate at a prison in Illinois. Public officials had acknowledged that the work of these unpaid and poorly compensated incarcerated laborers is crucial. There's no way we can take care of our facilities, our roads, our dishes if we didn't have inmate labor. You see, you need the prisoners to keep this shit going, man. But you got to understand, in the time of Jacob's trouble, they about to just let niggas free. Because they can't afford to maintain, they can't afford to control and contain all these people, man. So they about to let the gates loose, man, and let all chaos let all chaos occur on this earth, man. You see? Let's scroll down. It say more than 75% of workers told ACLU researchers if they can't work or decline to do so, they are subject to punishment ranging from solitary confinement to the loss of family visits to denials of sentence reductions. Just because you don't want to work, just because you trying to serve your time and not do anything extra, they'll put you in the hole, man. They'll take away the ability to see your family, man. See what I'm saying? They'll take away your ability to appeal your case, man. You see, most incarcerated workers are not provided skills and training for their work that will help them secure jobs when they are released, because that's not the point. When somebody gets their name in the system, Esau's job is to keep them in the system. That's why you got parole, you got probation. See what I'm saying? You make any false move on parole and probation, guess what? You going back into the hole, man. Going back into the building. Says incarcerated workers are stripped of even the most minimal protections against labor exploitation and abuse. They are paid pennies for their work and often unsafe working conditions, even as they produce billions of dollars for states and the federal government. Some workers make slightly higher wages for state prison industries, which are typically state-owned programs. But it says that work includes manufacturing furniture, cleaning supplies, and uniforms for other government workers, washing laundries for hospitals and universities, and working for call centers of the Department of Motor Vehicles. In 2021, more than 51,000 people held industry jobs. Those workers are paid 30 cents to $1.30 an hour. This shit is wicked, man. It says incarcerated workers in prison industries generated goods and services worth $2.09 billion nationally in 2021. The researchers estimated that the maintenance work of prisoners is worth $9 billion a year, but cautioned that there is no centralized data value finding the work, and that figure was probably undercounted in a rough estimate from earlier studies, man. But I just wanted to make the point home of how wicked that this system is. You know, to put somebody in a hole, you know, where they only get 23 hours a day in one single room in 1 hour, that's wicked in itself. You see, that's why they have a lot of people get driven to suicide in these prisons, because it's not a righteous judgment. A righteous judgment, as we got earlier, is a beating, death, or recompense, or you repay somebody back, man. But we all know that this system is wrong. Let me go ahead and get a precept, and I'm gonna wrap it up. This is Psalm 79 verse 9. It says, "Help us, O power of our salvation, for the glory of thy name, and deliver us, and purge away our sins for thy name's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is their power? Let him be known among the heathen in our sight by revenging of the blood of thy servants which is shed. Let the sign of the prisoner come before thee. And not just Jake that's locked up, but us as well in the free world, man. We are prisoners. Let the sign of the prisoner come before thee according to the greatness of thy power. Preserve thou those that are appointed to die, and render unto our neighbors sevenfold into their bosom their reproach wherewith they have reproached thee, O Lord. So we, thy people and sheep of thy pasture, will give thanks forever. We will show forth thy praise to all generations, man. With that, Lord willing, this edifying, all praises, honor, and glory, it goes to Yahawah, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, bahasham rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, double honors to the elders of Great Millstone. Yahawah, bahasham, YAHAWASHI, brakatham to the full. Shalom, shalom.